Ivan Pavlenko, From Family to Family, Chapter 4, Part 1.2, Karpylivka, 8th grade school. Read by Natalia Abizova. And then there was the first bell celebration and the first lesson. At the meeting, the students presented flowers to the teachers, including me. The first lesson was educational and was conducted by class teachers. The principal took me to the classroom and presented me to the students. They looked at me curiously with their playful little eyes and smiled. They were children of believers and non-believers, wearing ties and without ties, cheerful and wary, open and mysterious. I had to find the key to the heart of each of them. It could not be easy, but I had already had some experience of communicating with young people, including those of Komsomol and pioneer age. The theme of the first lesson for all classes was the same: for peace on the whole planet. I conducted the conversation involving the students themselves and then answered the questions. Finally, I opened the register and began to get to know the students according to the list. I still remember many of them. Valia Halamazda, who was sitting at the first desk, for some reason was called Tsunya. She was from a family of religious sectarians, but she studied excellently. The pupils were so inquisitive, so insightful, as if they were enlightening you to find out what mood you came to class with. I loved this class because it was mine. And every time saying good afternoon, I couldn't hold back a smile, after which everyone smiled, and Sonia just blossomed. Nadia Pavlova was the head of the class, and Valia Fedorchuk was the head of the council of the pioneer unit. Both were excellent students. Galia Arendarchuk, Sofia Fedorchuk, Lupa Slisanova, Ivan Fedorchuk also studied well and were active in extracurricular work. They say that the first teacher leaves the deepest mark in the heart of each of us. By analogy, I can say that I remember my first students the most, cute boys and girls from the Volyn village of Karpylivka. I taught those children for a year and raised them as a class teacher for only 1 month. I think that there was complete harmony and even mutual love between us. It occurred to me that my students were showing off at recess that they had the best class teacher. Perhaps the fact that I was a new teacher, a man, while in the other classes there were women, played a role there. From the first days, I relied on the class tacit. The most successful students helped the less successful ones in their studies, willingly participating in extracurricular activities. I also went with them to the collective farm to pick potatoes. The children worked together while 2 of them built a fire near the forest and baked potatoes for everyone. It was interesting and fun. I didn't work till the end of the month in that position. On the 18th day, the order of the head of the district to appoint me as a head teacher arrived. Anna Ivanovna Kruk was glad that she got rid of the position that overburdened her. I took over the affairs from her, and after a while I handed over the management of the 5th grade to her. I started a new job with energy and a desire to learn and improve everything. I began to get acquainted with the papers, looked carefully and deeply through folders with plans, instructions, and orders of the Ministry of Education. I concluded that educational and methodical work was planned and carried out unsystematically. The teacher's documentation was not properly organized. The educational plans of class teachers were too general and were reduced to such phrases as improve, achieve, provide, increase, and what to do specifically, in what terms, and who was responsible, that was not specified. Therefore, it was not possible to check those efforts to improve and raise. But I did not make hasty statements on this matter or present my demands. At first, it was necessary to delve deeper into the work, understand it properly, and gain some experience. and what depended on me personally, I began to correct and improve. The first thing I did was to organize my office work. I created separate folders for planning, accounting, and control of methodical work, educational activities, and success. I also kept a general notebook for planning my work for each day. For better control over educational work and dissemination of best practices, I chose from the school-wide work plan and class teachers' plans all educational activities and compiled a summary schedule of their implementation, which was posted in the teacher's room. Now, it was clear what, where, and when it was being held and who was preparing and responsible for holding it. At the very first meeting with the principal, I justified the need for both the schedule itself and the fact that it should hang on the wall. We cannot, I said, work blindly, each on one's own, isolated from colleagues at work. We need mutual visits and mutual enrichment. Everyone will show something different, and it will become a common property. It obviously alarmed those class teachers who had various plans in their educational activities, but they were not always carried out. I was told about someone's remark that the new director of studies takes matters in his hands. I had to assure the teachers in another speech that I was not going to catch anyone in something. My duty and my aspiration would be to facilitate and at the same time enrich their pedagogical activity and the level of educational work at school. Due to my new assignment, I lost 10 study hours. As a director of studies, I was not allowed to teach more than 12 lessons a week. There was also an overworking math teacher who asked to take 8 hours away from her. In total, she accumulated 18 hours, just enough for the teacher's rate. But the district had no pedagogical reserves. I had to look for a 10th grader who had graduated from school with good knowledge. I suggested taking Grigory Shostak, my nephew from Mytelne. His mother and my cousin Natalia ran an elementary school there. Grigory had 4 and 5 grades, had a mathematical inclination, and tried to enter Moscow University, but did not pass the competition. I followed for him to Mytelne. I made an agreement with his parents, and after a few days, Grigory was already teaching physics and geography. He got the calendar plans for those subjects ready-made, and I helped to make the lesson plans at first. A year later, I became the principal of the 8th grade school in Lichane and took Grigory with me, since there were not enough teachers there either. He worked for 2 years at the school, acquired the work experience necessary for preferential admission to higher education institutes, received the best possible job recommendation from me, and entered the Kyiv Polytechnic Institute. A month had passed, and it was time to get busy with my party registration. I was deliberately putting it off, waiting for settling it down in Lochwitzel without causing a negative reaction. And immediately after landing in Karpylivka, I wrote to Andrei Halivets in Yashniki that I had left for Volyn on the instructions of the Ministry of Education. I wanted him to say so in the Lochwitzer District Committee. In the Tsuman District Committee of the party, I got an appointment with Ostapets, the third secretary. He was a young brunette of 35 with a beautiful wavy forelock and eyebrows that spread out in arcs over black eyes like ripe currants. He received me kindly and heartily. He got up, shook hands, and sat down in a chair. He was personally touched when he found out that I was a graduate of the Nizhyn Pedagogical Institute, where his wife also studied. And he had finished agricultural technical school in Nizhyn and studied by correspondence at the Rural Institute. I briefly told where and with whom I had worked before. I said that I was tired of changing one position to another every year. Therefore, I decided to switch to teaching work. Since there were more teachers than necessary in Poltava Oblast, I came here to my sisters, who was teaching in Oleka, and invited me to her place. Well done, concluded my interlocutor. We don't have enough teachers, and there are even fewer good principals. Now I will call Vlasenko so that he can appoint you as the principal of the school. We do not involve communists with higher education and such experience in usual work. I interrupted him, saying that I had been offered such a position in the district, but I had insisted on being an ordinary teacher, not a principal, for at least a year, and then I would accept that position at school. After all, you could not become a good officer or general without completing military service. He agreed, called the head of the accounting department, and signed a request for my personal file to the Lochwitz District Committee of the party. In parting, he said that in 10 days I should come back and take the permission to be attached to the party organization of the Karpylivka collective fund. 2 weeks later, I came to the district committee office to find out about my personal case. As it turned out, it had not arrived. The head of the accounting department took me back to Ostapets. Didn't you have some debt? He asked me. I told him about everything that was connected with my desire to go to teaching work after graduating from the institute, and about Strelet's intentions to leave me on the collective fund. And finally, I said, I had to get a referral from the Ministry of Education, but I didn't have time. At the beginning of the academic year was approaching. Then let's do it like this, concluded Ostapets. We will send another request to confirm that you have been sent to us by the Ministry of Education as a graduate of the Nizhyn Pedagogical Institute. They won't be able to bring you back in that case. There is a resolution of the Central Committee on providing schools in Western Ukraine with teaching staff at the expense of the Eastern regions. I thanked for the support and promised to justify the trust shown to me with conscientious work and active social activities. A few days later, my personal case arrived. The difficult Lochwitzer past was over. Today's young person, and obviously the future one, will not understand me or the situation in which I was. What, for example, was the point of clinging to the party ticket? Why not hide it somewhere or throw it away and work as a teacher? The problem is much more complicated. To understand it, you have to live in a system that is called totalitarian. People did not leave the party voluntarily then. They could be expelled from its ranks for certain misdemeanors, but for someone to dare live it on his own did not happen. Such an act would be regarded as a hostile action against the party and the entire existing system. And you would not be able to teach. You would not work at all, except somewhere in the taiga at a forest clearing, especially with my past. I took the attaching coupon and on the same day registered with the party organization of the collective fund. It consisted of 4 people. I was the 5th, and all of us from the eastern regions. Ivan Kindratovich Teslyuk was the principal of the school. Ivan Rigorovich Marchenko was the head of the collective fund. Petro Fedorchuk was a zoo technician, and Katerina Savchenko was an agronomist. She was the secretary of the party organization. I received my first party assignment from her to be a political shaker, to perform in the club, on the farm, in the field, to tell people about the domestic and international situation and explain the party's policy. In my future activities, I tried to be restrained and indifferent in party life. I did not speak at meetings and did not put forward any proposals because I would immediately be charged with various assignments or elected as a secretary of the party organization. And I had already gone through all that and did not want to return to it.